Frank Martineau of Spectacular Promotions. In March 77, we started with our first event, which was Millie Jackson in Savannah. That was about 2 or 3 weeks after Carnival. We was in the boat, the Grand and the North Stand. And then a couple of weeks after that, which was Easter, we did Ace Cannon, a saxophonist. You know, that was a ballroom dance. And then I think we finished that year with Jimmy Smith, a jazz organist. But rewinding a bit, you know, in 76, you know, I went to New York for the first time on vacation, and run up my mother-in-law phone bill, calling and inquiring about this artist and so on, you know. And well, when I came back to Trinidad, I spoke to my brother Claude, who was older than me, 10 years older. So then I asked him, what name are you using? And he sheepishly smiled to me and pull out a document. 5 years ago, he had a dream about Spectacular Promotions, and he had registered the name Spectacular Promotions without even mentioning to me. In 78, we brought in Jackson 5 with Michael. As a matter of fact, it was 3 shows. Friday and Saturday in the Grandstand, and Sunday down at Skinner Park. But the big highlight in the show, which was not announced to the patrons, we asked them to do Sugar Boom Boom by Kitsch. And they did it. So you can imagine the Savannah when Michael started with the Sugar Boom Boom. It was chaos, it was madness. It was madness. I remember the head of security at the Hilton, which was a personal friend of ours, he said, "Oh God, Frank, don't bring back Michael Jackson again." It was a mess up in the Savannah. I mean, up at Hilton. Like after school on the show was Friday, they would have probably come in the Wednesday. And like on the Thursday afternoon, had about 300-400 schoolgirls up there after the Holy Name and the St. Joseph and so on. You know, it was a mess. It was chaos. They really heat up the place. Can't remember who else we did in 78, you know, but 79 we went into Teddy Pendergrass, Barry White, Roberta Flack, Kool and the Gang, just to name a few. As a matter of fact, the Kool and the Gang show, which was I think 81, was really the catalyst for the acceptance of Calypso right through the year. Because with the Kool and the Gang show, instead of putting local R&B artists, as we normally did in the past, we decided to put on the Kool and the Gang show Blue Boy, as he was then called, Nelson, Chalkdust, and Explainer. And people will tell you that at the end of the first half, which featured the local singers, they could have left the Savannah. They had the money's worth. We really got into Carnival in 82. 82 was our first season as Calypso Spectacular, where we had leased the building owned by William Monroe. He had called it Kingdom of the Wizard. We changed it to Spectacular for 5-6 weeks a Kaiso every night, you know, right down onto Carnival Friday or Carnival Saturday. That was a test of stamina. Talking about every night, you know, except maybe Sundays. But even on the Sundays, that is when we started with our children's shows. And you know, our children's shows spawned quite a number of big acts now, including Kess, Marshall, Montano. As a matter of fact, Marshall started in the tent. I remember we being criticized for having Marshall on the night when he had school the next day and that kind of, you know. But I think Marshall started in 86. The inclusion of Marshall nearly caused a little mutiny on the boundary, as you say, because in those days, and even now, a senior Calypsonian in the tent will do 2, maybe 3 songs. And when we brought Marshall in, we brought him in with his own band. They would open the second half and sing about 3-4 songs, to the dislike of many other senior fellas who sing in 1 song. So a lot of them didn't too like that. But Claude in particular saw something in the young boy, you know, and that's where he started, you know, in Port of Spain. Originally, it was Sparrow and Kitchener used to clash, and we and Masters then used to clash. And then the big clash was really on the Monday night before Carnival weekend. That was the Sparrow and Kitchener. Then Sparrow kind of fell by the wayside. And then Spectacular and the Review continued the clash on the Monday night. Those were the days you're selling 12,000 tickets in a day. And those were the days that you advertised for one night and a day. Clash used to be the Monday night. And the 210s running on the Sunday night. We run some ads on TV about the clash for Monday. Tickets ain't go on sale yet. Tickets go on sale on Monday. So tickets will go on sale at the two different tents. Couple places and at the Savannah. And by 7 o'clock the night, you're out of tickets, 12,000 tickets sold. Those days with the clash, promoters will come to us and ask us. I remember Roy March used to have something, a fete. Come to us and ask us to make an announcement to send the people thereafter. But other than that, I think it was P&M fete on the Monday night. But other than that, promoters used to normally stay away from the nights, the tents clashing, you know. We really got serious in 1986 and we started taking the soca out. We started with Barbados and for about 25 years straight, well, after a couple of years, after we started Barbados, we went into Antigua, St. Lucia, Dominica, North America, Toronto, Bermuda. One of the biggest, I would think, is in 1996, which would have been our 10th anniversary in Barbados. And we had close to 20,000 people at that show. It was an annual show, Calypso Spectacular. And why I say, well, 20,000, by anywhere is a big crowd, but 20,000 also represented close to 10% of the population of Barbados. Barbados' population then was 250,000, so it was almost 10%. The artist was Nigel Lewis, Moving to the Left, Moving to the Right. It had big songs that year. I think that year was also Marshall with Big Truck, Chris Garcia, Chutney Bacchanal. I think those were the three. In those days, people looking for Calypso. So you put your ad in the papers, you put your spots on the radio, TV, but in those days, people looking for Calypso. You know, nowadays you have to sell them it. And it's all the different reasons. Unfortunately, even though we did our part with the amount of children shows, there's a big gap now, big void, where the young people now not really into Calypso. They're into soca, but not into Calypso. You won't see a young person. Right now, we don't even do a conventional tent. We do a few nights a season, and we even we go back into time. But we have been able to draw some families in a way, and some of the younger ones, you know, they overwhelmed with what they enjoyed, you know. But to say like the youngsters really gravitate to the tents that still run, like Shigalo's still running the Review. We have Tuku with the other tents and so on. The young people not coming out to the tents, you know. And everything has evolved. The older folks now who really like the Calypso ain't coming out so much because of the crime, you know. Different. I guess what goes around comes around. I would think maybe in terms of numbers, it would have been maybe Miami Song Machine. It was 1988. We had probably, I think it was about 22,000 people at the stadium. So if there's any one signature, maybe Miami Song Machine. Well, the local acts was, I remember it was David Rudder, and we made a error in accommodating the management of Miami Song Machine, because we did the show in Barbados the night before, on the Friday night. And David had put on such a fantastic work in front of Miami Song Machine in Barbados. They didn't want to go behind David in Trinidad. So they asked us to perform before David. And we say all right, but it was all because people now are accustomed to David in Trinidad. So after 10-15 minutes after people got Miami Song Machine and who other local acts we had, they started moving out when David was, probably about halfway through his performance, but he gave them some licks in Barbados. So, and I know the first time I've seen that happen, I remember, I think it was 1979 in the Savannah, we bought Natalie Cole. And in those days, is 4 shows, 2 Friday night, 2 Saturday night. 1 show starting 7 o'clock, 1 show midnight. In those days, things different. And Carol Addison, she was our local songstress then. Put on a piece of work in front of Millie, in front of Natalie Cole. The next night, she don't even want Carol on the show. An incident that stick out in my mind with Miami Song Machine. We were running late with the song check for the Trinidad show. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The show was advertised to start 9. People already gathering out there. You're talking about 32,000 people. People already gathering outside the stadium. And the manager of Miami Song Machine telling me, I cannot open the gates until they finish song check. And they probably, from the way I see things going, they probably about another hour, possibly 2, before they could song check. So I said, Lord, what is my pressure here? I had my friends, like police and things working, part of the Spectacular crew, alongside the official police staff. And he's deceased now, Alfie. He was a sergeant in the police, and so a friend of mine. I said, boy, Alfie, here what's going on. So and so the case, they don't want me to open the gate until Gloria song check. That could be big problems. I want you to go and talk to one of the senior police and let them come to me and ask me why the gate didn't open. Whatever explanation I give them, let them make me open the gate. So Alfie did that. So when the senior policeman come to me, I call the road manager. And so the police asked me why the gate didn't open. I say, well, the manager say we can't open the gate until Gloria Estefan. Well, that boy is like, why he could have been in Hollywood. He liked that role too bad. He said, he watched the road manager. He said, you telling the promoter, the local promoter, he can open the gate now? You know the consequences could happen, blah, 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 blah. Look, I'm telling you, open this gate now. And so we were able to open the gate for people to come in. And they did what you call a line check. And, we opened the gate and everything went off without incident, But that always stick in my mind. If I had not thought of that, that could be well chaotic outside there. I normally will meet the artists in the airport. And the next time I see them 2-3 feet from me is when I'm going back out in the airport. They send them off, Because, after meeting them, who have to take them around will take them, will take over. And I started to deal with venue and so on. So, I remember once I was going into the dressing room and the road manager blocked me until I identified myself, So it was always, grilling and hustling and, that kind of thing. The largest investment artist-wise, I wonder, maybe it could have been MC Hammer, That show was MC Hammer and Boyz II Men at the stadium. And we also did Barbados. We lost money. 20,000 people and lose money. I remember clearly it was the third day, it was Republic. And it was the third weekend in the month, which is normally not the best. But people enjoy themselves. I couldn't tell anybody at that show when they say, boy, Frank, you make money here. I can't tell people I lost money. Claude was the man in charge of oversight. Claude hardly had much physical, part to play, but, he's the man in charge. Claude come like a father, so we've had our clashes, because of the age difference, but, I miss him, but he taught me a lot. Well, the whole industry is a much bigger industry now with all the different players, all the all-inclusive feds. Everybody is a promoter now. Every schools, everybody doing anything. The industry much bigger. It's maybe about 20 times fold. Big, much bigger. So the Calypso tent that we know it then has sort of lost its place into the Calypso, into the Carnival. But as I say, what goes wrong comes wrong. Nothing lasts forever.